I know, right? It's just magically like, hey.
It's here.
I can do laundry, that's fine.
That's true.
I was like, I know I still have one of them that's clean.
Yeah.
I was
Got it.
yeah. Fuck it.
Just
I gotta open this shit now, dude.
Today I'm not drinking Hennessy. I'm drinking cacti.
I got me with my monster, so
yeah. I need some
maybe sponsor.
Cheers.
Cheers.
All right.
Yeah. So welcome back to another episode, and again, I literally sound like a broken record every episode.
We do. Every episode. Hey, but at least it wasn't as lengthy.
As bad as last time?
Yes, exactly.
I mean, the last one came out, 2 weeks ago?
Exactly. It's not too bad. So, hopefully people watch it though.
I'm pretty sure they did.
Yeah.
I know my dumb ass fucked up though. after I put it up.
That's true.
I was like, dead ass fucking tired. And I was like, alright, I'm gonna post it. I only ended up posting it on Facebook. And I thought I posted it on Instagram too.
Oh.
And I was like, alright, it's cool. And I go look and I go, fuck? And I was like, how come like,
right.
I go look and it's like, no story, no post. I'm like, motherfucker. I was like, I could have sworn I did it.
Yeah, that's true.
And I go look and I recorded myself talking about it.
Right.
And then I didn't upload. And I'm like, fuck.
It happens.
But, if you guys didn't check that episode out, you should probably check that one out.
It was good.
But, again, apologies for not being consistent like we want to be. Hopefully, we'll be putting out more
content, more videos.
So, stay tuned for that. And, now there's a subject that we've been wanting to talk about specifically just because this is something we have a lot of similarities in, but also a lot of differences.
Exactly.
And it pertains to music. If you guys know me, you know my taste in music. And if you know Braulio, you know his taste in music. There's always been one constant between us. Rapper happens to be Logic. I remember specifically when you showed me him the first time, that you said that I was like, nah.
What do you mean?
That you were like, nah, what the fuck? Like, that you showed me Logic and I was like, nah.
Oh, yeah. That was, yeah. Because I was shocked because, like how you just said it right now, our music taste is very different, but at the same time, like, we still share the same, like, as far as what we could, like, really relate to is, like, old school, back in the day, like, obviously, old school hip-hop, old school rap, that's our, like, connection, even in timeline, too, like, because we're so, we're not old, but,
we're closer in age than we are to most other people.
Exactly, yeah, and, like, obviously now, the genre has changed so much to the point where it's not the same, or it's the same because everybody sounds the same.
It's in the same in that aspect.
Exactly, yeah. So, like, if you go around and listen to someone else and get a chance to listen to someone that sounds like what you used to listen to, obviously what you like or what you pertain to, it's like, oh shit, like, this is actually pretty good. So that's why when I introduced you to Logic, I was like, I know this guy, I know art. Like, he likes old school rap and all that stuff. And you can understand, especially if you can understand what the fuck, people are saying in their words and saying in their lyrics.
Right.
And, like, it has meaning towards, And so when I showed it to him, he was just like, nah, that's not it. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, I don't even remember what song it was you showed me, but I don't know. I guess at the time, maybe it just didn't resonate with me as much.
Right.
But, later on, obviously, I remember I came back, I was like, damn, fool, you hear that new Logic? And you looked at me like, what the fuck?
I was so mad.
Now you like him?
I think I got back to him too.
I think it had to
or
be
like something, yeah. Like,
I think it had to be one of the Bobby Tarantino albums.
I think so.
I think that's when I initially, hopped on that Logic train and was like, I fucks with him.
Right, and we were just, as how we were talking about earlier, I think around the time, I don't think I was listening or introduced you to Under Pressure at the time. I introduced you to
I think you
Incredible True Story.
Incredible True Story.
And then the first Bobby Tarantino came out.
Yeah.
So that's when we were like, oh yeah.
Yeah, because I think, like, even now, like, I like Incredible True Story. There's nothing wrong with that album, but like I said, a little while ago, I still don't rank it in the top 3.
Oh, that's understandable. It's a top 5.
Maybe 5. Six.
Maybe 5. What do you mean?
maybe number 5. I don't know.
Damn.
But yeah, like I was saying earlier, for me, still number 1 right now has to be No Pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Under Pressure, it's 2. And then
Mm-hmm.
for 3 has to be Bobby Tarantino too.
Not bad.
I don't know. Incredible True Story didn't.
It just
Like I'm gonna say pretty much what I said earlier, just a little while ago. It
Right.
doesn't resonate with me.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, there's songs on there that I like,
of course.
but literally, for me, especially right now, because I have not been consistently listening to it,
Mhm.
like I was with Under Pressure this past week.
Exactly.
But I don't know. It just maybe I have take a little more time to listen to it. But
Right.
as of right now, where it stands, just
I mean, I think we could
it's
agree.
a solid number 5.
Okay, I agree with that. I think we could agree. I don't want to say his least favorite word because I mean, my dream is to one day beat him. I really want to beat him one day and just not even just being a fan, but just like if there's like a pop-up shop or if there's something that we can go to and just like being able to talk to him, like that's all I want to do. And if maybe one day the podcast blows up, we could have like him on it. That'd
Right.
be crazy in itself. I probably would be starstruck, but I still would just have like the interaction, just asking him questions.
Maybe like no pun intended, but I'm the one under pressure.
Exactly. But yeah, like supermarket.
I don't know.
That I understand.
I think maybe there was like one song
Mhm.
that I was like, all right, I fucks with this one, but
I understand his direction of where he wanted to go towards, but at the same time, it worked for maybe others because obviously, like I was saying, Incredible True Story is gravitated towards me. For you, it's Under Pressure. Maybe for others, it's Supermarket. But for the most part, I mean, it was alright. It was cool for what it was. You know what it is. Because at the same time, like he's a rapper. He's a rapper, and that's his genre basically.
yeah.
Then people may say he turned into pop because of 1-800. Became big.
1-800.
But at the same time,
I've heard that so many times with people
Right.
saying about the 1-800 song.
right?
I'm like, dude, like with time, everybody changes.
Yeah, of course.
You can't. I mean, I get it. People they put certain people up on a pedestal.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, this is everything I want in a rapper or a musician or whatever. But then they do something that's different from what you're used to.
Right.
But it's them evolving and changing as a person, as a musician, as an artist.
That's true.
And you just don't want to accept that.
Yeah.
And
Because you have certain eyes of your favorite artist being a certain way.
yeah, just like the whole thing with the majority of the older heads in hip hop, whether it be the artists or fans,
Right.
like myself included, I don't fuck with the new rap
Right. Exactly.
because
And we've had many conversations about that.
these guys, and I'm not hating on them. Get your money however you can, get your money.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just not for me. I was never a party guy, and that's what
Very
the
true.
majority of this music is. It's
Very
all, the mumble rap is all party stuff, getting, drunk or whatever, doing drugs.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do drugs, kids. But it's never resonated with me. I always have to have some type of story, something that engages me to listen more, not just
Yeah. Right.
to quote
So-
Snoop Dogg.
So I was about to say,
making fun of
that was pretty good.
But, I don't want to go off like he did. That was
It's one of my favorite.
that clip is hilarious.
Yeah, that's my friend's favorite clip.
But it's not for me. I don't understand it. Maybe that's a whole Gen Z thing.
Are there certain artists that you can't? It's not. Is it the music itself that you can't resonate with you? Obviously, you said that you can't resonate it because it's party music and stuff. But maybe is there like a certain artist that's new wave that you enjoy maybe listening to?
I've heard a few new guys that don't sound like
The
mumble
same,
rap.
right.
Some of them have stories and things like that, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it is. Like for some reason I can't get into it,
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, maybe it's just me being, you know, how I am kind of set in my ways, I guess, with certain rap.
True.
I kind of hold it to a higher standard. Like I said, you know, you kind of put it on a pedestal.
Right.
But like for me, like I have to have some kind of story.
Mm-hmm.
You have to sound a certain way. Like I know I'm gonna get a lot of shit for this.
Mm-hmm.
Like Kendrick Lamar,
don't you dare.
his music is great.
Right.
It took me a long time to get used to his voice. I hated his voice. It annoyed the fuck out of me for some reason. It just, I don't know what it was. Maybe it's just the way he was flowing at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, obviously now I got used to it. I'm like, oh, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But at the time, it just like, I was like, I don't know what it is. I was like, this guy's voice just doesn't, it doesn't do it for me.
Right, exactly.
Like, I'm like, just like, I know this another popular opinion, J. Cole.
I was just about to.
I don't.
Really?
Maybe it's because I haven't really listened to too much of his stuff. Like, I like the album Cold War when he first blew up.
Classic. Yeah, of course.
That album is like, you know.
Wait. So you're telling me?
I like that album.
What about the Four Soul Drive album? Really? Didn't he do it for you? That's crazy.
Nah.
Because that some say, as being a J. Cole fan, some say that's his best album. And the reason why it's the best album is not because of the songs itself, it's the delivery of how it came out.
And I'm not.
He literally never didn't put out any singles. It was just him by himself. Yeah. Dropped it. And it became
like I'm not.
You know,
I'm not taking anything away from him. I think he's a great artist. And like you said, he put it out all by himself or whatever.
Right.
I've just never, for some reason, there's something about him that didn't really pull me in. The Cold World album, I love that album. And I forgot the name of the other song. It was a single that came out for the second album.
Like this?
No.
Oh, it's the second. Four Soul Drive?
No. What's the name of that damn album? It's the one that has like a face at the bottom of the picture. It has like a halo. I think it's for a single.
I gotta go back. And see it.
I gotta really look it down. But no, there was something else that kind of like pushed me away from him even more. His album KOD.
Oh, what about it?
What does it stand for?
I forgot. I'm forgetting.
Because there's another album by literally my favorite artist called KOD.
Who?
Tech Nine.
Oh, I know that's a favorite.
It's like, bro, like, yeah, like.
Was it same meaning or is it?
I don't know.
That's why
it's just. But I was like, what the fuck?
So I hit you harder. It was just like.
Yeah, I'm like, that's straight. Yeah.
Alright.
I mean, Tech Nine's album KOD stands for King of Darkness. That's when he was going through like a really rough period in his life.
Great album.
His mother got sick, and he was just kind of like. He's always been a religious guy. I know that. He's always like, it's all Jesus. It's all God and all of that.
Right.
But at that time in his life, he was kind of like turning away from that because it's like, why would you do this to my mom? Like, she got sick and everything. She unfortunately passed away a few years ago. But yeah, I don't know. It's just like for me, Tech Nine is like.
Yeah, I know that for sure.
And I know a lot of people are gonna give me shit too. In my eyes, he is the greatest. Whether it be independent or mainstream, in my eyes, nobody can touch Tech Nine. Not even M. Have you seen interviews with M when they ask him about Tech Nine?
Yes, and he has spoken highly about him. Yeah.
Nothing but he's
he
highly
speaks.
praised Tech Nine.
Yeah, he does speak highly.
And I'm still waiting for that Eminem featuring Tech Nine.
Yeah.
We've already got a Tech featuring M on that Speed 'Em, which is the Worldwide Choppers 2 song. But if you guys didn't know, they actually made a little bit of a deal when Tech Nine and M were like, okay, we both want to be on each other's tracks. They're like, okay, usually, you pay that person for a track, to be on it. They said, I'll pay you for a track if you're on one of mine. And
makes sense.
So I'm just hoping, soon we get that Eminem featuring Tech Nine. you know. But
he's very versatile. He's very different. He's very different. He's very his delivery is pretty insane.
It's his delivery, and literally he can somewhat, I guess, adapt and go with the beat of the song, rather than, you know, like obviously there's people that go with the beat, but it's like you keep a certain tempo.
Yeah, exactly.
With most people, but him it's like
Right.
and he can keep all that within that tempo.
Right.
And it'll sound like amazing.
It does. No, it does.
And like there's some people that I've heard that try to do that, try to copy similar styles of Tech Nine, and they're garbage.
Yeah.
It's like I said, for me, nobody can touch Tech Nine.
He's a name that's very, very underrated. No one even like talks about him, but
he's literally the #1 independent rapper.
Oh yeah, of course.
He has his own record label. People, Strange Music.
Yeah.
Bitch. No. That's what it says at the end of the album. You know? But
yeah, when I think of Tech Nine, I think of like as far as independent, I think of like Immortal Technique. I think of
Jedi Mind Tricks.
Jedi, yeah.
Ari the Rugged Man.
Yeah.
I mean, I know.
And that's one of Logic's favorite guys too.
I know.
His recent interview, he just talked about him on his album, saying
that he literally says RA is like one of the best guys out there, and he is for good reason. RA is like, you know, he's been blacklisted by you know, the music industry. Back in the day, he used to be called Crustified Dibs.
I didn't know that. That's funny.
Yeah, it was the Crustified Dibs, and he was signed. I don't know if it was like straight signed or co-signed with Biggie.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the day, and people hated him for that.
That's crazy.
It's like, oh, why is this white boy, you know, getting a chance?
Right. Exactly.
Like, bro, because he
can
deliver.
Exactly. You know, so crazy too. Around that timeline, like it's RA, and then you have Beastie Boys. Like, why couldn't obviously Beastie Boys became, you know, mainstream, but even before that, like, they were accepted, and it kind of sucks because at the end of the day, like, people only get accepted by certain people that are gonna move up or get ahead, you know. You know, sadly, RA never got that push because.
Well, I mean, like initially he did when he was first there. You know, like his song, it's called "The Star Is Born," and it's like, you know, there's little things in the beginning of the song of like when he first got signed. They're like, oh, you know, RA, you know, he's the biggest thing out here right now. He's coming up, you know, he's this and that. And then like there's a little clip, the part of the beginning part where it's like, oh yeah, the girls are like speaking highly of him, you know, that he's very well, you know.
Right.
And she's like, yeah, you know, my girl couldn't walk for like a week after or something. Like, you know, just stupid shit, but like, you know, kind of saying like, just saying good things about him.
Right.
And then, you know, when the record label dropped him, everybody's perspective on him changes. Within that song, the first verse is like, oh, they're like, oh yeah, this is, you know, he's this and that. And he talks about everything that happened to him. And then how he got signed to Jive Records. I think it's Jive. And then they signed the Insane Clown Posse.
Oh yeah.
Another rap group that I want to talk about. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
The Backstreet Boys and Britney. Literally all signed to the same album. Record label. And it's like, yo, what the fuck? Like, this is like literally one side of the music, and then this is another side. It's like, what the fuck? Like, I don't know how they mesh well, but you know. But I remember he gets dropped after that, and then, you know, the same song, right before the second verse, they're like, or actually towards the end of the song, they're literally like talking shit about him. Like, oh, he's hurting, man, like, you know. And then the whole perspective from the chicks.
I
like,
gotta
oh,
hear
yeah.
that song. I don't think I've ever heard that one, but
yeah, and it's like, oh, like the chicks are like, oh yeah, like, oh, my girl said he couldn't even, you know, stay up and this and that, and it's like,
it's a great transition.
Yeah, and it's like, yo, what the fuck? I mean, I get it.
Right.
It's like, oh, because there's certain people that are gonna be behind you because of your status and because of where you're at.
Of course.
And then they're like, oh yeah, oh, this person's not on that record label anymore. Oh, let's fucking trash her.
Exactly. Yeah.
But it's like whatever. Like, I feel like that was the best thing that could have happened to him, music-wise, because of what he did afterwards by himself.
Yeah, all that stuff by himself was. pretty crazy.
Like, and if you guys
Even
didn't know,
his
he
recent
actually has a song with Biggie.
Yeah.
That he released on one of his earlier albums as a RA. But yeah, it's just
It's crazy. It's crazy. You know what's so crazy too is like sometimes I think like even taking it back further, like being like a connoisseur of like hip hop and rap. You know, like I always like to divulge into like who would like if you put like this person against this person. You know, like rap battles. You know, like rap battles were the shit. Obviously before we were born. You know,
mean like somewhat of that rap battles of history, but specifically just tied to the music.
Exactly.
That'd be cool.
That's a good transition. But yeah, no, like I always think about like because I'll put it to you this way. I'm like talking to like the newer generation, even still being a part of our generation too. Like the number one person that is on top of the world right now is Drake. You know, obviously Drake has put out so many albums even when we were in high school. Him being so big now, but at the same time, like you listen to people have their own albums. People have their own songs and bars. You know, at the end of the day, like I always think about like, damn, what if this person went up against this person? What if this person went up against that person? I don't know if you know, but back maybe 2 years ago when Drake had his beef with Pusha T. In my mind, I'm like, dude, people like, oh, Pusha T, like, he's like whatever, it's because he's not mainstream. He is mainstream, people know his name, but he's not like a Drake. Exactly. But in my mind, I'm like, dude, are you crazy?
Bars to bars,
exactly. I'm like, are you fucking insane? Like, dude, like this guy is gonna destroy Drake. There's so many people. I could literally name maybe like 10 rappers right now, old, new, that can destroy Drake in a rap battle. Easily. You know, easily. Tech's up there too.
What's that thing that Drake is saying? Oh, he's not a rapper.
I mean, I always said that.
He's like, oh, I'm not a rapper. What the fuck do you think you do?
I remember.
Like, oh no,
exactly.
I sing. Like,
I remember like, and you know what's so crazy is that some people put Drake as the greatest of all time. And you're about to spill out your drink. Some people put Drake as the greatest of all time, and even some DJs like I watch the podcast, Gilly the Kid and Waldo, $1 Million Worth of Game. I watched their stuff. They had Fun Flex, obviously, big DJ, iconic DJ, and he said he's like, if it wasn't for the reference tracks, meaning like reference tracks referring to like songs that he put out, but people wrote those songs for him. If it wasn't for that, he'd be the greatest of all time. Over, obviously, Jay-Z, Tupac, Biggie.
Yeah, that's another thing that I don't agree with when it comes to rap. That these guys have ghostwriters.
Of course, yeah.
I mean, if you're gonna have a ghostwriter, you'd be like, you know what? Yeah,
right.
I got one.
Exactly.
Fucking just own it. Like,
yeah,
okay,
exactly.
like, you know what? I don't fucking write all my shit. Like, even if you only write some of it, fuck it. Just say, like, you know what? I don't write all of it.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I'm gonna fucking own it. If you guys like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't.
Right.
But just don't bullshit and be like, oh no, what the fuck? No,
yeah, exactly.
I read all my shit. Like,
exactly.
Like, I think one of the first guys that was used to talk about that shit was Nas. He's like, oh, these guys don't have fucking ghostwriters, man. Like,
that's true.
I mean, it's like whatever. Like one of the guys that's an up and comer, even though he's had multiple tracks on the Billboard Hot 100. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's an independent artist. Tom McDonald.
No, never.
He's a white boy. He's a Canadian guy, but he lives over here in California. Nice. I think somewhere in the LA area. But his shit has been all independent. It's his own label, which is technically a Hangover Gang, but that's also what he calls like his fans.
Okay.
A Hangover Gang. He's dealt with a lot of shit personally when it comes to drug abuse, alcoholism, and everything.
Sounds like a Mike Lewis other guy. Yeah.
Somewhat in a sense when it deals with that stuff, but he blew up back in like 2018. I believe it's 2018, maybe 2017, but it was a song called Dear Rappers, where he literally like like the single, the artwork for the single has the heads of like Uzi, 21 Savage, And like all these guys that were coming up at the time, Kodak
Right.
Black or whatever.
Right.
And he's like, you know, he was a struggling artist
Mm-hmm.
at the time. He wasn't as big. He wasn't, you know, getting the help or whatever.
Right. It wasn't being
So
pushed
he
as
just
it should.
he like, and his girlfriend at the time, it was still his girlfriend. You may know her. She was a mainstream artist for a while. Nova Rockefeller.
No, I never songs.
Hmm?
What songs is it?
Oh, no, she wasn't that big.
Oh,
Like she never really took off like she should.
okay.
But you know, it's just things happened with her career, and then, you know.
Yeah.
But she said that one night he just randomly was like, "I need to get in the studio right now. Like, I have this song in my head and it needs to get out now."
Mm-hmm.
Which was the song "Dear Rappers,"
Mm-hmm.
and it's like just like one of the lines is like, "Dear rappers, can you help me? I'll even take a selfie with your album that I bought. I got every single CD that you ever fucking dropped."
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's like, oh, something, and I've never had a lot. Oh my God, what a mess. Your words help me deal with stress.
Mm-hmm.
Like just, and, but, you know, skipping a little ahead.
Right.
But he's done everything by himself.
Mm-hmm.
100% independent. And a lot of people give him shit because he's like, yeah, you know, I write all my shit.
Right.
But, and everybody's like, nah, your girlfriend writes your shit. Like people are like, nah, your girl writes all your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, no, she helps me with the hooks.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Right.
And the crazy part is that she kind of put her career on hold for a while to help him.
Mm.
Like just put all her focus into helping him.
That's crazy.
Because once that song blew up, because she's recorded and filmed all his videos.
Yeah.
They literally all say recorded, edited, and filmed by Nova Rockefeller.
Yeah.
All his shit. So
That's crazy.
So she put her career on the back burner to focus solely on him and help him get to where he needed to be. And helping him write the hooks was one of it. He says he wasn't that great with the hooks. So I know, I mean, shit, as most people are.
Right. Yeah.
Myself, when I was writing,
Right.
I could never write a fucking hook. I couldn't write one to save my life.
I couldn't. Yeah.
Like I would write shit back when I was trying to be a rapper. But I would write all this shit. I would write it, and be like, okay, cool. Like this would be a good spot to end it, and then have a hook. But anytime I would write, I would do verse, and then I would just put hook, and then keep it in parentheses, and then skip, and then I'm like, whatever. I'll come back. I'll write a hook later. But every time I came back and I would try to write a hook, that shit was trash. And I'm like it would flow,
Right.
but it would somehow for some reason it would always take away from the tone of the song.
Okay.
Like I feel like it was one way on the verse, and then like the hook would like deviate off into a different path,
Right.
and then it would come back, and it's like it doesn't really make sense. And I think that's what a lot of people have trouble with.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And there's a lot of shit that I've heard that does that with a lot of these new guys.
Oh yeah, of course.
Like their music is just their hook literally takes away from
the song. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
people that actually write. You know, not this.
Chose to
But you know. But anyways, going back to Tom McDonald, he's literally like. Currently, he's probably one of my favorite independent artists, aside from a few other guys. Like I don't know if you've heard of Dax.
No. I'm not gonna lie. I haven't heard.
Yeah.
I haven't really gone back to that independent ways. I guess. I've just been on. I guess you would say the mainstream wave. But I've also just kind of been in a funk where I'm just like listening to like I'm actually going back to the old stuff I used to listen to in high school, like old school Kendrick, J. Cole, you know, even old school Logic. Yeah, I in my mind I'm like, damn, I've listened to No Pressure like 50,000 times.
I know, dude,
So I'm like, I gotta get over this. I gotta go back.
There's days where I'll be, you know, at my 9 to 5. I won't mention where I work. Don't worry about where I work. But there's obviously, I've told you what I do at work.
Right.
You know, when it comes to whole music and everything.
Right.
Dude, there's literally days where I'll be like, fuck, man, like, you know, I'll either listen to another podcast or I'm like, you know what? I feel like listening to a certain artist or something.
Right.
And I'll literally have that album on repeat.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done that multiple times with no pressure.
Because it's honestly like you just it's like a gravitational pull. You know, like you just play the first song, you just hook instantly. Like, well, looks like I'm in it again. So you're just like, all right.
No, like I literally put that shit on repeat.
Oh, see, I can't do that.
For the whole shit.
I can't do that.
And I just get into like emotion. Like just not emotion, but emotion.
Right.
Of just the repetitiveness at my job.
Right, of course.
So I'm like, it helps me.
No, yeah, of course.
You know.
Right.
But like how you were saying, like, oh yeah, you know, you've been kind of going back to what you used to listen to in high school.
Right.
I do that every now and then. Usually, for some reason, it's always like a Thursday or a Friday.
Of course.
That I end up doing that. Mm-hmm. Like literally Monday through Wednesday is always, you know, some rap shit, either Tech Nine, Logic, or whatever. Mm-hmm. Literally, like it'll always be like a Thursday or Friday. I'll hear one song from like a band. Not even, you know, no rap or anything. Literally like rock, alternative, or whatever. Right. And I'm just like, nah, this is what I got. This is what's gonna pump me up today.
No, yeah, of course.
But like, I'll literally like, you know, I'll be doing my job and everything, and then a song will come on, and you're like, oh, never mind. This is not gonna pump me up. And it's like a fucking, you know. Yeah. You just hear that one chord. Well, that one note on the piano, the G. Yeah. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun. Don't demonetize me. But right. You know, I'll say it so that I won't get demonetized, you know, for singing it. Mm-hmm. When I was a young boy, my father took me to the city to see a marching band. Do you recognize what that's from?
I recognize the song, but I can't think of the artist.
My Chemical Romance.
Oh, okay. Jesus
like
Christ.
there's certain songs, like it'll like I'll be listening to like, you know, some, I don't know, some 5 Finger Death Punch, Slipknot, Metallica.
You know what's so crazy? Well, I have a couple things I need to get off my chest.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, no, it's funny because like how you say that, you know, like transitions from like rap into just different genres. You know, like I always get not picked on, but like people always be surprised of like my diversity in my music. You know, like
same, bro.
You know, like even with you, I remember when I first met you, you thought you know me to be like, you know, bro, you only listen to like, you know, hip hop, rap, old school rap, blah 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 blah. This is this specific genre, and then like, you know, I think it's been so long, but I think I remember a conversation where, you know, we started talking about this. I think it was a conversation between you and Hector, and we started talking about bands, and we started talking about like Iron Maiden, Metallica, Slayer, and you were like, you looked at me, you're like, you know these bands? And I'm like, yeah, I do. And you're like, no, you don't. And you're like, you started testing me. You're like, wait, okay, so give me like 5 songs from Metallica. Give me 5 songs from Iron Maiden. Give me like this. And I'm like, yeah, no, I listen to like Nirvana, grunge, alternative, all kinds of fucking different shit.
I remember that kind of
and you're like, wow, like what the fuck?
Nah.
So
do you remember what we did? I think it was sometime after that. Cassandra, shout out to you. Just if you watch this, I don't know.
Yeah, hopefully she
does.
But
right? Nah, I remember that one time she tried to kill me.
What time? There's been many times.
Remember how I was doing the thing at the end of the episode?
Oh yeah.
She's like, I remember calling her. She's like, you better not fucking do that.
Yeah, you know what's funny? The way you just said it is how I used to picture saying it.
And I'm like, I won't. And I remember, I forgot who. They were like, oh yeah, that Arik did it to her.
Oh man.
And then she like walked all the way back to the loss prevention office. I was like, oh shit.
You're like,
I didn't do it though.
Right.
But now I remember that I was like, damn, like it used to like somewhat annoy me that people would wear band T-shirts and not know what the fuck, like they wouldn't know more than like 2
Wait,
songs.
who would do that?
Cassandra.
Oh shit.
Actually, I remember she had a Nirvana T-shirt.
Right.
I go, oh, what's your favorite song?
Uh huh.
And I think she said something from I think it was from the Nevermind album.
Okay.
I remember that. I know it was from one of those.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, really? I go, do you know any other songs? And she's like, yeah. I was like, okay. Name a song from the Bleach album.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, huh? I was like,
got it.
fair weather fan. And then she was like, well, I like how it looks. I'm like, that's not.
It's not how it goes. But yeah, man, shit. No, yeah, talking about how, you know, how you were talking about earlier about how you're being at work, you know, you either sometimes listen to podcasts or you just want to listen to a certain artist and listen to a certain album. I was literally sitting here on Friday and I was eating and I was like, damn, like, it was on Friday, so I was like, okay, like, usually my Fridays consist of, you know, coming in, doing what I have to do. Basically, already kind of like, I'm already locked in and just being able to be like, okay, this is what I have to do. And just kind of look forward to the weekend, you know, just go off from there. So I'm like, damn, what's it? I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, what's something? I wasn't even like trying to be like, oh, what's a song that's gonna get me pumped up? Or it was like, I'm like, damn, I haven't listened to like a song that can pump me up in a while. Mm-hmm. First, and I started thinking about just different bands. I'm like, damn, I haven't listened to Rage Against the Machine in a while. Ooh. So I'm like, what's a song I can play? I can play Bulls on Paradise. I can play Renegade. I can play Gorilla Radio.
Killing in the
Name of. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna play one of my favorite songs from them that a lot of people don't know about, but I know you probably know about it. It was in the movie The Matrix. At the ending of the movie, it's called Wake Up.
Okay,
yeah. Play that song. That song always gets me going. It always pumps me up. And it's funny too because I have friends that, you know, I have my best friend. Because he listens to a lot of he actually listens to a lot of old school alternative and rock, and obviously we listen to the same things, but we two are the only ones that can go back and listen to like old school stuff. Yeah. And we always have that rivalry of like, you don't know this band, you don't know, like kind of like how we have that rivalry too. Yeah. So one day we're upstairs, we're playing rock, and we're playing just because we were tired of just listening to the same thing over and over. I was like, oh, let's play some other shit. Yeah. So then my roommate, he was actually up there, and he was playing. I think he was playing Nirvana. Yeah, he was playing Nirvana. And then I was like, hey, play this song. Plays it. He's like, what the fuck? I've listened to this band a lot. Like, why haven't I never heard this song? And I'm like, really? You never heard this song? And he's like, yeah. He's like, I've never heard this song. I was like, well, shit, there's a lot of things you need to listen to then.
Right?
So, yeah, but I guess on Saturday, on Friday, I went home, was with my girlfriend, we're about to eat. One of my good friends from middle school, she messages me and she tells me that a good friend of mine, his name was Jose Cruz. He just passed away this month. He literally passed away the same day as my other best friend, really good friend, had passed away the same day. And yeah, it was a blow. I took time. There's certain people in your life, especially friends that you could just be like, you could think about, and you can be like, damn, this person actually. People make an impact in your life. No matter how long, even if you don't see them for a while, even if you don't hang out with them every day, there's certain people that you can see and hang out. Exactly. Mm-hmm. So, RIP to him. Yeah, man, shit, we used to listen to a lot of heavy metal, so that's gonna be my lineup for the week. Just to have him in remembrance and have him in my heart for forever, basically. Because, like I said, he was a really good friend. But yeah, no, we could transition to heavy metal and shit.
Yeah, bro, you just run down the whole mood.
No, I know. I mean,
oh yeah.
But at the same time,
and then heavy metal.
Yeah.
Bro.
I mean, just rock in general, because I feel like a lot of people don't know me, and I mean, obviously, if you do know me, you know me.
But they don't.
They don't. Exactly. Yeah, they don't at all. Only my really good friends know me that as far as me being diverse in my music. Being able to play just random shit. It's. I always like I said, I always get the look. That look of
wait, you listen to this?
No, yeah, exactly. And if I have if I'm playing something on the speaker and I switch it up and I start playing that, they're like, wait,
you don't
what?
listen to this.
Exactly, yeah.
Dude, God, I used to get that so much back then.
I mean, it happens.
Literally since high school.
Mm?
Like, I mean, I obviously I dress a certain way. You know, I kind of toned it down because of my wife. But, like before, I used to wear still a 2X, but I would usually wear 2X tall, either a black or white tee,
right?
Dickies. You know, I wasn't pulling my socks up to my ankle, well, way past my ankle,
right.
but like it's just, you know, I always had a hat.
That's true.
And it would throw people off because people would be like, "Oh, you're probably wearing like some Cortezes, you know, or something." And then you look down at my shoes, I'm wearing DCs. Like I was just like a mix mash of like a bunch of stuff. So people would kind of associate me like, "Oh, I dress somewhat like a cholo or gangster."
Right.
But then you look at my shoes, like, "Oh, he skates too," because I walk around with my skateboard anyways.
Right. Exactly.
You know, and then
isn't it crazy to think that people define you by the way you dress and shit?
Yeah.
You know.
But I mean,
you kind of did that with me when we first met.
Oh, yeah. I mean, but I think everybody does that.
No, yeah, of course. You know,
always, and like people have always told me, don't judge a book by its cover.
Of course, yeah. Always.
But literally everybody does that shit.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, you kind of have to somewhat base your expectations first on the approach of someone or their mannerisms.
Right.
Obviously, until you get to know them and talk to them, you're like, oh, okay, this person actually has, you know, something in common with me, like you and myself.
Right.
But yeah, like it just, people used to perceive me as like, oh, this guy probably only listens to rap, or he listens to this and that. Right. People used to get thrown off because I used to blast my music too on the speaker that I had. Yeah. And they'd be like, oh, that fool's probably gonna put on some rap. And then all of a sudden I'm playing fucking, you know, Linkin Park or Metallica.
Right, exactly.
You know, and they look at me like, the fuck?
Right. You know what's so funny too is that when we used to work together, I remember hearing the speaker that you would take to the fucking layaway section. I'd be like, oh, Archie. Right? I was there for man, I'm like, yo.
Yeah, nah, but fucking, like, I remember, dude, like, I don't know if I did it on purpose or by accident, because growing up, they used to call my dad and my uncle rock and roll gangsters, because, you know, not that they were in gangs or anything, but my dad and my uncle, you know, they were pretty much like OGs.
Right, exactly.
And my dad, you know, he wasn't a big hip hop head. Like, he knew some stuff, but like his favorite shit was like Zeppelin, Leonard Skinner, Black Sabbath, like a lot of classic rock and metal stuff. And you know, I used to always think it was so cool, like, oh damn, the rock and roll gangster, like, oh, that's dope. And there's a song called Rock and Roll Gangster. Yeah. And so I don't know if I consciously or subconsciously did that. Right. But I think I ended up trying to get that same name.
Rock and roll.
Like people I would try to get people to call me that. Right. And it did happen for a while. Like back in high school, people like I would hear people, like, especially like the guys that were, I guess, cholos or whatever. That I would hear them and they'd be like, oh, what's up, fool? Like, they'll come up to me. Yeah. They're like, damn, fool, what's up, Mr. Rock and Roll Gangster? Like, they would like say some shit like that. Right. So I would kind of like play it off like, what? Like, whatever. But like inside I was like, fuck yeah. I got it.
No, of course, because right? a remembrance for your dad, you know?
Yeah. But like, yeah, like I remember just like, I used to love throwing people off with that. Because I would initially start off listening to like Tech Nine, Hobson. So you would hear nothing but rap from me. Right. And then I throw a curveball in there and start playing Metallica or Five Finger Death Punch or just anything rock or metal. And then people would just be like, what the fuck? Like,
right. Give me your top 3 bands of all time.
Top 3 bands. No particular order. Okay. Linkin Park, Slipknot, Metallica.
That's so crazy. The first 2 are mine also. Metallica I love, but I would have to put Iron Maiden up there.
Iron Maiden?
Something about Iron Maiden, like, they're such an old band, but at the same time, like, man, like, I think what gravitated me towards them, it wasn't so much the music, it was the artwork. Like, the artwork they had on their albums, yeah, it was just, like, it was insane. Like,
Yeah,
it was
it's
insane.
just like,
Because, like, in my mind, I'm like, damn, like, it's not so much, like, I've always been an art guy. My favorite artist is Jean Michael Basquiat. And so like I know a little too about art, but like for them to put out like there's certain albums that you look and you're like, whoa, like damn, that's crazy. Like how do you think about that? But each of their like albums specifically of like the drawing and the characters and the mindset behind it, you know, like None of the Beast, obviously, iconic, you know, the puppet, the beast, you know, and then, you know, I forget what this album's called, but it's the one where it's the
torso?
no, not the that one's up there, yeah, the torso where he has his like heart coming out, iconic. But my favorite one is it's the one where the beast is like in a life jacket and he's like chained up and just like trying to get out, you know. I forget what that one's called.
I know I'm probably gonna get this wrong, but I do know that song "Can I Play with Madness" is on that. I believe it's on that album.
No, it's on. That's actually on the torso album.
Oh, no,
that's on the torso. Yeah. The one I'm talking about. The song that's on there is Revelations.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
it's Revelations on there. Yeah. And then the one that's cool, but it's still an iconic song if you listen to Iron Maiden. Fear of the Dark. You know, Fear of the Dark song, obviously with the tree. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Dude, honestly, I think that has to be like my favorite song for them.
Really? Damn, I have so many, bro. I mean, you could pick, obviously, Number of the Beast, Trooper, Revelations, Children of the Damned, Iron Maiden,
Midnight.
that one.
You know, everybody.
Fuck,
and,
so
you know,
many.
The Trooper is that's the song everybody.
I Will Be Thy Name too.
I Will Be Thy Name.
Yeah.
And
even the Trooper artwork too. Like, what I loved about them is, and I gravitated towards them is like, it's not. It was the artwork. It was what they put into it, and like when you look at the album and you look at the artwork, you know what you're gonna get. You know what I mean? And you listen to the album, you're like, whoa, like this is it, you know. But man, like even damn, Slipknot.
I know, like
I
think they literally have. They were probably one of the first bands that influenced my musical taste.
Right.
Aside from Linkin Park, rest in peace, Chester.
R.I.P.
But yeah, like I remember just listening to the first album. Well, not the first album, because the first album's not with Corey.
It's not, no.
Yeah, but the first album with Corey is the self-titled one.
Yeah, exactly.
And I remember just like I heard the first 2 tracks, which is the intro. This is the one. The first song is the intro song with a bunch of numbers.
Yeah, it's like yeah.
And then it literally goes into the song "Sick."
Yeah.
Because the whole thing I think is sick. You know?
Yeah.
But I remember not really like I was like, "Sick." It's a good song. It really didn't catch my attention for the album until "Wait and Bleed."
Yes.
And then that's the song I guess that most people like associate with them.
Yeah, of course. Cause I mean, as a kid, like my aunt would like, you know, she would introduce me to a lot of bands, a lot of people, a lot of different bands and different genres of rock and heavy metal and stuff, you know. So when I first heard that, I was like, I first heard the song, right? So when I heard the song, I was like, damn, this band is so sick. And then you hear the
no pun intended.
Right. And you know, like you hear the scratching between from Sid, and you hear like all these different like they were literally, honestly, they really remind me of like the Wu-Tang of like heavy metal, basically, because there's so many people, bro. It's like 12 people in that band, you know? Oh, 9. But I mean, like because like now they have like because sometimes they would have if you want to be technical, sometimes like in their live shows they have extra people on it. You know, I don't think I've ever seen like they have like other people.
Because I have seen them before, back in like 2009, I want to say, after the album All Hope Is Found came out.
Yes.
I remember, dude. I think that was probably like my first concert.
Damn, that's crazy.
Like, and I remember too, just like my brother would tell me things about concerts and stuff like that, because he's been to Ozfest when that was a thing, and now it's not Fest. So hopefully I get to go.
Right.
But I remember he would tell me all these things. He's like, when you look around, you're gonna like what you see.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
And me being, a hormonal teenager at the time, obviously, don't demonetize me, but showing. But he would tell me, he's like, dude,
It gets crazy.
So I was like 13 at the time, so
right.
13, 14 maybe. But
obviously,
I was gonna be like,
yeah,
what do you have though? But obviously that didn't happen because it's not a festival. It was more of just in a venue.
Okay.
But I remember seeing who were the bands before? Trivium. Didn't really resonate with me too much at the time. Now, I like Trivium. I do listen to their shit. And I believe the band right before Slipknot came out was Coheed and Cambria.
Oh, classic. I
Literally,
remember
like,
that video, that music video. I forgot the song. What it was.
Home.
Was it Welcome Home? What, in the woods? I have to go back to this.
Yeah. No, I remember though, like just watching them, and then you see them all on stage, except for Corey, and I'm like, fuck, where the fuck is he at? And I'm right in the front. I specifically made my brother go with me to the front because I was like, nah, dude, like I need to see Slipknot. I need to be in front. Yeah. So I remember being there, and then we're like, yo, what the fuck? Where's Corey? Like we can hear him talking.
Right.
And I'm like, what? And then I hear people yelling behind me, and I'm like, what the fuck? And there's like a little platform in the middle of the thing that I didn't even notice.
Right.
And he's standing over there. Yeah, and then...
Man, that's crazy.
And I'm like, yo, what the fuck? No, wait, no. I was initially in the front. But I think me and my brother ended up going back.
Right. So
we ended up next to the centerpiece. I think that's what it was.
Okay.
Because I remember, like, I kept getting, like, pushed.
You're
like, there wasn't a pit next to us.
Right.
But like with just everybody trying to like get closer and everything, it wasn't COVID safe at the time, but that wasn't a thing. And I remember just kind of like, I guess somewhat freaking out,
right,
because of my my
and
anxiety, and then just being somewhat of a claustrophobe. Like I literally can't function when that shit happens.
Right.
Like I start breathing heavy, things like that. So I remember I told him like, hey, can we like back out a bit? Like I know I want to see them, but like I can't breathe. So we ended up coming back out, and I remember specifically seeing them all come on stage, and then the lights kind of went out, and I see the security like walking towards us. What the fuck? And I see somebody with a towel over them, holding on to the security. I was like, that kid. But then I see the jumpsuit that he's wearing.
Was it? Wait.
I'm like, oh fuck, it's Corey.
Was it the?
It's the red jumpsuit.
Oh yeah.
And I can see it, but he like covered himself mostly, so you can like kind of see the bottom.
Right. I was gonna say orange jumpsuit, but it was red.
Yeah, it's the red one.
Yeah.
But I was like, no, that's him.
Was it the mask that we had his long hair? Yeah, right.
No,
he had
already.
He had transitioned to the one with the eye.
Yeah, because I remember too, and I was like, no, there's no fucking way that's him.
Right.
And I tell my brother, I was like, that's him. And he turns and he looks and he goes, Corey! And I go, why would you yell, dude?
Yeah.
Like, and people were like, huh? Like, kind of scrambling to see where he's at.
Right.
But I mean, like, they made it right before everybody really noticed.
Yeah. Fucking brother.
But like, I mean, I get it, dude.
Yeah.
I probably would have did the same thing, because my brother's always been a big Slipknot fan. Bigger than I am.
Right.
But, yeah, like, I remember just being there, and he was, I know I'm probably going to get this wrong, but I'm pretty sure he was singing Dead Memories. And, like, I remember him coming up to me. Like, me and my brother, because we were right there next to that little centerpiece.
Right.
And he was, like, right there, and he was like, obviously, they go around to everybody, and, like, while they're singing.
Yeah.
But I remember, like, he stopped at, like, me and my brother.
Right.
And I was like, Dead Memories. Just, getting all into it and shit.
Right, exactly.
Like always, but
damn, that's iconic. That's
yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah. Nah, I mean, speaking of concerts, I have two specifically. One, the first concert I ever went to, I'll save that one for later. It's like the concert I remember specifically was a lot of people may know this band, maybe not, but I know you know this band. 311.
Oh hell yeah, man.
Iconic since the 90s, you know. That's
Alternative,
iconic, yeah. Me and my best friend. It's funny because like I said, like me and my best friend had that rivalry between us where like, you know,
who knows more?
Exactly, yeah. Before we were in this big warehouse, we used to be in a small office, and I used to work, you know, be in like this little room, and I used to, you know, help him out, do stuff. And I was playing. I had my speaker with me, and I was playing 311. He comes in the room. He's like, "What do you know about 311?" And I'm like, "Bro, come on!" And we started going back and forth.
It's like you should tell him like this, bro. You gotta come original.
Exactly. No, I started playing all these songs, and he's like, all right. We were going back and forth to the point where we were like, all right, let's play a song, and we're gonna see who sings it better. Play them. I'll be here for a while. I played Come Original. I played Down. I played All Mixed Up. I played Amber. I played Champagne. I can go on and on, bro.
I think like literally like my favorite song from them has to be a tie between their cover version of Love Song and Come Original.
I love Love Song, but I think it's just
too slow for you.
No, I just think it's a little saturated.
It is a cover song.
Right.
It's a lovey, sappy song.
But I feel like, I guess what I'm saying is like, I feel like if you're a 311 fan, there's other songs that you could pick that.
Yeah,
you know?
but I mean, for me personally, I've never been like the hugest fan of them.
Right.
Literally, all the songs you said are probably the only songs that I've listened to from them.
Right. Exactly.
As with most people, because
for me, that's like I love my favorite song from them is Beyond Gray Sky. Mm-hmm. That's one of my favorites, and like it's the transition is very slow. Like it's it's like alternative, boom, 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 and then it just ramps up. Like it starts, you know. It's almost like I guess a lesser version of like Stairway to Heaven, where it's like very somber, and then boom, hook, riff, and then you know. Okay. So that's one of my favorite songs, right? But I think it was like in third grade. Yeah, I was like in third grade. My aunt was like, "Hey, we're gonna go to this concert tonight," and I'm like, "Okay, who are we gonna see?" She's like, "I'm not gonna tell you. We're gonna wait." So I'm like, "All right." So go to school, go home. Concert's like around like 8-9 o'clock. You know, usually, you know, roughly around that time. So I get there. I'm with my aunt. I'm with my aunt and my uncle. So we get to this, venue, whatever. We're going to the venue. We walk in, looking around. Still, like, you know, I'm like the little kid. You know, I'm like, what the fuck? What's happening? I see all these people, whatever. We go into the spot. She's like, wait, come back. She's like, you see? She shows me the merch. She's like, you see all that merch? And I was like, yeah, I'm like, no. And I see 311 merch, and I'm like, no fucking way. I was like a little kid, bro. I'm like, holy shit, I'm about to see 311. She's like, that's what we're about to see. I was like, fuck. And I'm like, can I get a t-shirt? She's like, no. And I'm like, fuck. Okay. So we go inside the venue. I forgot what band is opening up for them. There's a band going on. And then, we're like, the venue is basically, so it's, from what I remember, it's the stage, and then there's like, you know, the people where you can stand, listen to them. And there's like a side spot where like people can like watch on the side or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then there's like two steps. Like there's 2 steps, and then like people standing behind us too. Yeah. Behind us is like a bar area. So I'm like, okay, like I'm just gonna be here. They come out, and I'm listening to them, and I'm standing like I'm short as fuck, and I'm just like standing. My aunt and my uncle are standing behind me, and I'm like literally like trying to like peek through, and I'm like, you know, like a little kid, you know. And then there's a security guard standing in front of these 2 steps first, so the people that are behind can't come into the front where they could just push in, you know. So I'm like, okay, I'm just like standing there, and the security guard's like looking at me. He's looking at this random kid. He looks at me. He's like, and I'm like looking around. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, me? He's like, yeah, come here. And I look at my aunt. She's like, yeah, go. My uncle,
she's like, they already know.
Yeah. My aunt and my uncle were like, go. And I'm like, fuck it. So I go. So I go to the security guard.
You're like, what if this guy's kidnapping me?
Exactly. I mean, not exactly, but I'm like, all right, fuck
you
it.
don't think about that at the time.
Exactly,
Like,
you're just like,
it was a different
in my
world.
mind, I'm like, I don't know what the fuck's happening.
You're
So,
like, I don't know if I'm in trouble.
exactly.
Should I be here or not? Like,
Yeah. So like, I go, he puts his arm around me. He has like a flashlight, and he's like taking me around the back. He's like doing the thing, you know, like making me like
telling
people,
people,
telling people like, get the fuck out of here. Yeah. So he's like going. Literally puts me on the side of the corner of the stage, and I see like 6 other kids with me. I'm like, is this a thing? So I'm like, does this usually happen where like you're at a concert?
You're like, I don't know if this is part of the show.
Exactly.
Or am I about to get trafficked? You know, don't demonetize
I would have
me.
been there. So I'm like, you know, I'm with these kids, and I'm like, all right, whatever. So I'm looking at them, and I see I'm looking at them, and I'm like, holy shit, they're like so close. And that concert was like, dude, you know, I mean, you know, they have so many songs, and it was around the time when the Don't Tread Me album just came out.
Mm-hmm.
They went on around like 10. They were supposed to come on like at 9. So, you know, usually, you know, bands do that, artists do that, where they always come out a little bit late. So I'm like, all right, well, let's see how this lasts. They played all the songs, all the bangers. Sang. It's over. I'm not even paying attention to what time it was. We go home. I literally look at the time where my stove is. And I'm looking at the time. It's like 2 or 3. It's like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, holy shit! And I look at her, I'm like, yo, do I have to go to school tomorrow? She's like, no. She's like, yeah, you still gotta go to school. I gotta go. I fucking wake up at 7 in the morning. All right, so I go to sleep. I wake up. I'm still like having withdrawals of what happened. My ears are fucking still ringing from fucking blasts of the noise. I was just like, man, she was crazy. So I go to school, right? I'm tired as fuck. I'm just like, damn, I'm trying to like do whatever I was doing at the time. And you know, that's like that time where you take a break. I didn't even go outside with my friend. I was like, oh, I'm just gonna take a nap. So I let her put my head down, take a nap. And my teacher wakes me up. She's like, hey, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah. I just didn't sleep a lot. She's like, why? And I'm like, oh, I went out to a concert last night. She's like, really? So I was like, yeah, my aunt took me out to a concert. She took me to go see one of my favorite bands. She's like, who? And I'm like, 311. She's like, wow, how was that? And I'm like, oh, it was fun. Like,
it was fun. I'm just tired.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I told her. And I was just like, damn, I'm tired. And she's like, okay, well, you can sleep. So yeah. So that was like awesome. But my first concert I ever went to. This is the most rememberable concert I've ever been in my life. Not just so much because it was my first, but because it was the band it was. Mm-hmm. And what happened? Linkin Park. Yeah, I know. It was around the time.
I'm so pissed I never got to see them. It
was literally around the time when Hybrid Authority came out. That album just dropped. I listened to that album so many times. Again, my aunt introduced me to so many bands. I'm like, damn, this band is it. I even bought like the DVD where it was like the making of the album, and I watched that thing so many times. It was House of Blues when it was still around in LA, and we get there. It was me, my aunt, and a friend. We get there, we listen, cover bands, or not cover bands, opening bands. We get to the bottom. We're in the belly of the beast. We're on the fucking floor, and my aunt's friend, she's a little taller than my aunt, so like I'm like maybe like 6 or 7 years old. This was like, so I saw them first, and then I saw 311, and then I saw them literally in the same year. No, maybe a year, a little bit after. So like periodically, basically. So like I'm there, and like, boom, she puts me on her shoulders. I'm the only like little kid there, like in the fucking thing. First song they play.
People are probably walking by looking at you.
They're probably like, what the fuck is this kid doing here? So like, first song they play, Paper Cut. I knew, I could legit say, I know Hybrid Authority, word for word. I've listened to the album so many times. I'll play it again and I'll know it, I could sing the whole thing. They play Paper Cut, they play One Step Closer, they play Run Away, they play everything, they play all the songs. I forget what song it was. I think it was maybe it was One Step Closer, or maybe, because like they play their songs, but very like, they didn't like go how the base of the album was. Yeah. Obviously they're gonna play like different shit. I think it was One Step Closer, or maybe it was like, I gotta go back and see what the song was, but I think it was maybe One Step Closer. And I'm mouthing the words. I'm singing. I'm literally screaming at the top of my voice as a kid. I'm singing the song. Mike Shinoda, he's moving from side to side, stage to stage. I see Chester, I see Mike, I see Han, I see all the guys. And Mike comes to our side and he sees me. And I'm like, I'm still mouthing the words. I'm like, I'm singing the song, I'm into it, you know. And he like looks at me and he's like, he's still singing the song. And he's staring at me as he's singing and as I'm singing. And it's the part where it goes like, shut up, I'm about to rip everything you say. That part. When that part was like coming, like it was like the build up, he was looking at me like, and then he put the mic on me. And I didn't think he put the mic on me. I thought he was just doing it because he was just doing it, but he like saw me, he was just like, and he's like, I want to see what this kid says. And I'm singing at the top of my lungs. Concert's over. They sit down, they start signing autographs. Like literally after the show, they literally just sit on the podium, like on like where they sit, like where the stage is, and they sit down.
They just started.
Yeah, and it's just like boom, 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 boom. This is probably one of the greatest memories I ever had in my life. And this is no joke. I'm not lying. I'm not like spitballing. My aunt can vouch for me. I was wearing Kobe ones before he was with Nike. I was wearing Kobe the Adidas ones, and she grabs my shoe. She takes off my shoe, and she's like, "I'm gonna go get this signed by Chester." Yeah. So she goes for me, and I'm still with my aunt's friend, and she goes and she's like, "Hey, my nephew's a big fan of yours. You know, he's listened to you guys' album so many times. He watches you guys so many times." And he looks at me. He's like, what did he say? He's like, "Hey, little man, like." He's like, "I hope you enjoy yourself." I'm like, "Bro, I'm your fucking biggest fan." I didn't say fuck, but I'm like, "Hey, I'm your biggest fan. Like, I love you guys, bro." Like, and I'm looking at him, I'm staring at him, I'm talking to him. I was like, "I'm your biggest fan, bro. Like, I fucking love you guys." And he's like, "Damn, but thank you, bro. I appreciate your love." He gets, so one of the shoes was signed by Chester, and the other side was signed by Mike.
Damn.
Yeah, I still have that shoe to this day. To this day, I have that shoe. No, I'm obviously, you know, RP, he passed away. I was very devastated when he passed away. I was at work when he had passed away. It was funny too, because not even funny. It was a good friend of mine who, you know, is in New York right now. Recently, just about to come back. Big metal guy, big rock guy, comes into work crying. I'm like, "Bro, you okay?" He's like, "Bro, Chester passed away." I was like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Damn!" Like, in my head, I'm like, "Damn, it sucks," you know. But that's just how much of an impact, not just so much Chester had, but the band had, you know, because they literally are, they're iconic, you know. Like, who doesn't know about Linkin Park, you know? Like, even, and the thing I hate about certain people that listen to Linkin Park is that every time I talk to a new person or a person that we talk about Linkin Park to, they're always like, "Oh yeah, the Transformer band, right?" That's the number one thing that just gets on my fucking nerves, bro. That's the number one thing that gets on my nerves, man. Like, I always think, I'm like, all right. I literally just stop talking. I'm like, yeah, okay. And then I just
honestly, if somebody would have told me that, I probably would have hit that.
Dude, I've had that,
and
I've had that three times with certain people. Like, as far as being introduced to someone, and like, "Oh yeah, we're talking about certain band," you know, like I mentioned Linkin Park. They're like, "Oh yeah, the people that the band that sang for the Transformers song. Oh yeah, I know about them. You know, oh yeah, what I've done. Oh yeah, it's a great song."
Like, bro.
Okay, yeah, sure. And
I'm hearing the story secondhand, and I'm getting mad.
Yeah, exactly.
But, no, dude. Like, I remember when he passed away.
Mm-hmm.
I was at work when I heard about it. I was already at work, and it was on first break. I remember sitting down, and I'm like, "Yo, what the fuck is going on?" Like,
right.
Like, I kept getting these notifications, says breaking news. Huh?
Mm.
So I just clicked on one of them and says, you know, Chester Bennington had passed away, and I'm like, literally, like, I was in shock and disbelief.
I was shocked.
Dude, I literally was sitting my whole break crying.
Me too.
People were looking at me like, "What the fuck?"
Of course.
Like, my coworkers came up to me like, "Hey, dude, are you alright?"
Mm-hmm.
And
it goes to show you.
I remember telling them like, "No, like, fuck, dude, like, Chester passed away."
Mm-hmm.
The Chester who? The singer from Linkin Park, Chester Bennington.
Mm-hmm.
And they literally fucking sat down with me.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't. I don't know if they cried, but they like were bummed the fuck out the rest of the day.
Of course, yeah.
Like, for me personally, Linkin Park is most likely the most influential music
of course,
that I've ever listened to.
mm-hmm.
Linkin Park has to be the first band that I ever sat there and can listen to
Of course.
all the songs, never skip one,
At all.
and be perfectly fine listening
Mm-hmm.
to it. And I've said this in a post before, probably about a year or two after I think it was a year after he passed away.
Mm-hmm.
I posted a picture. If you go on my Instagram, you can see it. That he's the reason. One of the reasons I got into writing music.
Right.
Not just I tried to make rap or whatever. No, him specifically. He inspired me to try and become a musician or a songwriter or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
It just, for some reason, obviously most people would feel the same.
Exactly.
He was a big part of my childhood and most other people's as well.
Same here.
But yeah, man, I remember just honestly and I don't want to sound cheesy or anything, but I felt like a part of me died.
Oh, of course, yeah. No, me too.
It's just
It's like how he said,
just pretty much like a piece of my childhood.
Of course, yeah.
Like
Most
it's just.
definitely. I mean, I felt the same way when when Coke passed away. Like that's aside from a different genre of sports, like that was like a big deal for me too. There's certain, like I was saying, as I was talking to you about my good friend that just passed away, that I recently just found out that passed away. There's certain people in the world, not even if just because you know them, or if you don't know them, or if you listen to something, or if you are into something that impact you very deeply. And that was something that for me, I was like, in my mind, I'm like, damn, my friend, you cried, my friend cried, and I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, damn, that's crazy. And then it didn't really hit me until I was driving home. I was, driving to someone that we know's house back in the day, and I was playing the songs, and I remember playing Somewhere I Belong, and that's when they really hit me. I could have played any other song, but I don't know why I played that song specifically, but I could have played anything from the Hybrid Authority album to Victoria to something else. But when I heard Somewhere I Belong, I feel like it hit me harder because he was an artist that it wasn't so much. It wasn't so much that he was a singer, is that he put his heart and soul into his craft.
Mm-hmm.
He had a lot of issues outside from music.
Yeah.
Crazy story. If you want to look it up, you can look it up. But aside from that, he really put his emotions into his voice, into his music, into everything.
I think that's why so many people gravitated
of
towards
course.
him. He would. I mean, most people that I can tell you 100% of the time, anybody that listens to Linkin Park
Mm-hmm.
and at least feels that way towards Chester's music or anything that he did in the music industry,
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you without a doubt, all of them have either mental health issues that they're dealing with.
Right.
I mean, most people are,
Yeah.
but whether it be depression, an anxiety disorder like myself,
Right.
It's just everything that he spoke about, and obviously not every song, but
Mm-hmm.
certain songs, there was always, like you said, he put everything he had
Of course.
into his music.
If you really think about it, and if you want to divulge into his craft and the way he sang, I don't think anybody ever sang like that. To this day, I don't even think anybody could have a pitch like he did. The way he screamed, the way he elevated the music. It was this
I've
is
heard
insane.
people trying to copy the 17-second scream
Mm-hmm.
from Giving Up.
Yep.
I mean, I'm pretty sure we've all tried it.
Yeah, exactly.
I've done it myself, and I've always gotten.
I can't do it, bro.
I've gotten to about 15 seconds, and I always lose it at the last two.
I'm like at 7.
At 12 seconds, I'm already on the exhale part,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, yeah, I don't think I could go.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I'm gonna pass out. But
it was insane.
there's many people that have obviously tried to copy that,
Mm-hmm.
or at least imitate his style.
Right.
And you know, there's always going to be those guys that are like, yeah, you know, oh, this person sounds like him, this person's there,
Right.
this person's whatever. No matter how much you think you sound like him, you will never, ever be able to put the same emotion he did behind everything.
Of course, yeah.
He
I could legit say, and I mean, people might,
Disagree.
that blackball me for this. The only person that I can think of, as far as his, you know, the way he like really delivered in his you know voice, was Freddie Mercury.
Yeah, I could see that in the
You know,
sense of
like,
being,
I feel like, yeah.
putting his emotion behind everything.
Exactly. Yeah. Like Freddie Mercury, obviously he's a god, a lord amongst, you know, all of us. You know, guy was a fucking legend. You know, a legend amongst men. And you know, for me, that's the only person that I could really think of. Like, you know, some people always say like Mick Jagger, you know, or
I mean,
or like,
you know, he's iconic in his own way. But
right.
when it comes to, maybe it's because I'm not really, I guess, not as much into Mick Jagger's music as most people. Obviously, you know,
I mean,
I'm not saying that he didn't, you know, deliver
Right.
with his performances or putting his emotion into his music, but I can probably honestly say, yeah, Freddie Mercury and Chester Bennington are literally in the league of their own when it comes to putting your emotion behind your music.
Right.
I'm just not saying that no other people do that, but those two singers,
Right.
musicians, artists, whatever you want to call them, I don't see anybody else ever coming close to them.
Really
At least
don't.
not in our lifetime.
Right, exactly. Maybe in another lifetime, but those two guys are on a different
Except maybe
stage.
Tech Nine. That's a whole different thing. That's
a
not,
different genre.
that has to do with rock.
Right, exactly.
Anything like that, but you know, kind of getting away from you know, rock and rap for a second. Rock and going back to rap for a second.
Right.
When it has to do with concerts.
Mm-hmm.
Back in 2013, I believe, my brother won tickets to go see, to go be a part of the show Ski Live. Do you remember that TV show?
Yeah. Oh yeah. See. Yeah.
Ski TV or whatever.
Yeah.
He won tickets to go see Tech Nine.
And
I remember him calling me like, "We're going."
And
I'm like, "Okay, cool. Like, hell yeah, bro, Tech Nine."
Okay, yeah.
At that time, his album Something Else had just dropped, so constant rotation for me with that song.
Right.
And I remember just being there, you know, waiting in the line. They open the door and the guy comes out with a camera and literally like passes us, and I'm just like,
You're like, fuck what I do.
and literally like my brother sends me the clip that's on YouTube. You could probably find it, where they go by and they look at us. And it's just me and my brother, and we're like, as it goes by, because I'm like kind of sideways, and I'm like,
You're like, oh.
But I remember just when he came out and he was performing with Chris Calico, Recognized from Mayday, and Twisted Insane. They all performed the song So Dope, it's supposed to be featuring all of them and Snow the Product, but you know, she wasn't there obviously, so her verse got replaced by Chris Calico's verse, which is not initially in the original song.
Right.
But I remember there's a part that even Tech himself says that he doesn't like rapping because it gets so fast that sometimes he kind of slips over the words.
Right.
But I remember just being so like, at that time I was like, nah, like I gotta know every song. I'm like, I gotta do this and that.
Right.
So when that song came on, they played it. I was dead center in front of him.
Like I'm locked in.
And I literally was rapping along with him.
Damn.
And literally the whole time, the whole verse,
I think
me
I
and
remember
him
seeing
were
you.
just
Locked
the whole
in.
time, and I'm just going with him, and
Right.
he can hear me because I'm literally like this close to him, so he can hear me rapping along, and as he's rapping, I see him crack a smile, like this guy, he knows, like,
that's fire. Oh yeah.
And I remember too, like once his verse finished and it goes to the chorus, so they want, you know,
Yeah.
he's like,
Damn.
And he gave me daps and shit. And I was like,
yeah, it's honestly, it's moments like that. You have
to.
It's moments like that you can like remember with an artist, and you could be like, wow, like, damn.
Yeah, like it's somewhat, in a sense, because I know most people, like I said before, people put artists, celebrities, or whoever on a certain pedestal,
right?
And you sometimes feel like that person's out of reach.
Mm-hmm.
Like this person's on a whole nother level.
Right.
But with moments like that, at least for me,
mm-hmm.
I can see it more. It more sort of humanizes that person, rather than not like in a sense that he is not,
like
that he doesn't feel like
right.
he's above it. And I'm not saying he feels above anybody, but
right.
in my mind, it kind of like, no, like he is here with us. Like
mm-hmm.
it's not like, oh, I'm up here, like leave me the fuck alone.
Right.
You know, just interactions like that. There's been like plenty of times I've had interactions with celebrities and things like that where it's like, damn, like, you know, like how
right.
can I meet this person? And then,
right.
you know, like there was
the one memory I could not memory, but I could go from your like your Instagram was when you met the young buck.
Oh,
you know, like that, like, you know, Instagram story, not story, but like the video you posted. I'm like, damn, like that's dope. Like, you know, him doing his, you know, signature.
Why he stares at me?
Yeah, exactly. And I love the fact that like you were like the vibe, you know, because he knew like him looking at you, he was probably like, damn, like this guy like is a fan, you know, is a true fan, and he like, you know, he's
dude, I literally got like choked up when
exactly
because he's like, he literally tells me, you know what you're asking me?
Yeah.
And I go, yes, thank
exactly. So it's like, you know, moments like that you have with certain, you know, yeah, you consider, you know, the Young Bucks as celebrities because they're a big wrestling group. And it's like, you know, like, for him to do that for you, and then for him to feel the emotion from a certain person. Obviously, he's, you know, met a lot of people, and he's just like, but there's certain people that famous people meet that are like, damn, it makes him gravitate towards, like, it makes them, I'm not saying obviously like how you're saying, it doesn't make them feel like they're above, but at the same time it makes them feel like, wow, like I make an impact on people, or I make an impact on this person.
Like I remember,
you know what I mean?
Somewhat after that, after the video takes, you know, after it's off,
mm-hmm.
he actually, since he was kind of on a break when I came back,
mm-hmm.
You know, because Nick wasn't there initially
mm-hmm.
when I went and got the picture and the autograph.
Right.
You know, he did my autograph, and then like I guess they like killed the line after that. Like, hey, you know, we're gonna wait till Nick comes.
Oh shit.
And I remember too, like literally after that, like since nobody was like, obviously there's people around, they're looking like, oh shit, like, you know.
Like, oh fuck yeah.
But he actually stood there and actually took the time to talk to me.
Right.
And you know, he was asking me about like, oh, you know, like, oh, what's your favorite match, you know, that you've seen us in.
That's crazy.
And I was like, oh shit.
That's amazing.
And I remember like talking to him and you know, asking him like, hey, did you see you know, Devitt's and AJ's match?
Mm-hmm.
It was literally like.
Oh, you asked him about that?
Yeah, I asked him. It was like maybe a week prior to me going to LA Comic Con.
Mm-hmm.
There was the pay-per-view where they had Styles and Balor.
Yeah.
Devitt, if you guys didn't know, Fergal Devitt is his real name,
mm-hmm.
or Prince Devitt as he was known on the Indies in New Japan. But you know, I asked him like, hey, did you guys get to check out the match between them? And I remember Matt's like, he's like, yeah, dude, like, he's like, I seen the match, and it was, you know, obviously he's like, them being who they are, I expected nothing less.
Damn.
And I was like, okay. Like,
I mean, there's nothing else you can say after that. You're like, holy shit, it's crazy.
Yeah, and
you know, because obviously him being around them for so long, you know, in Japan, you know.
And I remember too, like, just after that, I remember I was like, damn, like, I'm like, who else is here from Bullet Club at the time, which they were in at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, damn, who else is here? And I'm like, Fale is here.
Mm-hmm.
Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa.
Oh yeah, they were the
Gorillas of Destiny.
Mm-hmm.
And they were right next to each other.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like,
yeah. And you were wearing Bullet Club too.
I know, I was off Bullet Club. I was like, shit, they know.
Yeah.
So I remember I'm talking to Fale, and same thing, you know, I asked him about the match. He's like, nah. He's like, you know, I didn't get a chance to watch it, but I heard these guys tore that shit up. He's like,
That's
I'm proud of these guys.
I gotta go back and rewatch that match.
Yeah, dude,
It's
that
amazing.
match literally,
It's fucking amazing.
Literally, and then they end with the 2 Sweet, and I was like,
dude, I'm telling you, I remember. I seen on Instagram. I had watched the match and I seen it on Instagram, and then I seen when they did that. I was like, oh, like it was like a holy shit. It reminded me like, obviously, to the hardcore fans, we know what they're doing, you know.
yeah.
And even the fans, they were like, oh shit, you know, that's crazy.
Yeah, that right there was straight up.
It was
fan service.
exactly.
They knew people wanted to see that.
Exactly, and it was kind of like, fuck, like imagine like.
Having Bullet Club in the WWE.
Exactly. You know what's so crazy? Remember that segment when it was Gallows and Luke and
I mean, Luke Gallows.
and yeah, my bad.
I'm like,
Different
they said the same
person. I'm
person.
like, oh shit. Yeah, it was them two, and then it was AJ.
It was AJ, and then
And
they
then
turned the camera.
Yeah, no, because they were
Gallows
talking
right
about
there.
it like somewhat, and then like you just see him like,
It turns the camera and he looks at him and he's like,
and then he's like, yeah,
he's
and then
just smiling, and
he
then
just walks
it
away.
goes back to them, and they're like,
yeah,
and I was like,
dude, if they would have done that, I would have been like, fuck.
but it's like,
I mean, they can.
they can do it.
They could, but it would be.
Obviously, like I'm pretty sure if they do it, since Balor is the one that initially created Bullet Club,
Right.
well, was one of the original founding members.
Exactly.
Him, Carl Anderson, Tama Tonga, and Bad Luck Fale.
Mm-hmm.
Before then, obviously they were the OGs of the Bullet Club.
Exactly.
How would it work if they were to do it now? Because Styles was also the leader of the Bullet Club.
I mean, you could do it. I would think.
After he left.
Yeah, but I could think they could do it together. You know, I think. Because if you think, alright, like, if you think about it.
You got to think too, then you also have Adam Cole.
I mean.
He's still in NXT right now.
Yeah, exactly.
But he was also kind of
He was in
the
Bullet
leader
Club.
of the Bullet Club.
Yeah.
Until, Kenny kicked him out. And
Yeah.
then, they had the super kick.
I mean, honestly, like, I think they could do it, like you said. But at the same time, like, if you think about it, like, I don't know if this might be a great example, but if you think about it, it's like when Shawn Michaels was out for a while, and then Triple H kind of took over DX.
Yeah.
There was no. They knew. You knew it was like. You knew Shawn Michaels and Triple H were like DX. Like either or were DX. So I feel like, and being the wrestling fans we are, like we know like Finn and AJ and Adam Cole are like, even though they were all the leaders at one point, they could come together and be like, yo, let's come together and fuck shit up, so to speak.
But do you think they're going to be called Balor Club?
Nah, I feel like yeah, that's true.
Because there was Balor Club and then there was the Bulletproof Club.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, if you could just go Bulletproof.
Yeah. Just call them BCOG.
I mean, they could switch the name if they wanted to, also.
Yeah. What are they gonna call it?
I forget too. I forget that in the segment. What?
So what's another word for bullet? A shot.
Or
shot squad.
Why don't they just call them Suicide Squad by that point? No, but I remember the segment too.
Yeah, sorry we deviated. So
yeah, we know. This is what we do. No, I remember in that segment they ended up throwing up the symbol.
But he doesn't do it.
But he doesn't do it because they were all like yeah, and then he turned to Finn and he's like, and he just walks around. I'm like, fuck.
Like, do it.
But then obviously it was a fan service for both of them to do it because at the same, being hardcore fans as we are, for them to do it in general, it was amazing. Like I remember, again, I lost my mind. I remember sending that clip to you, and I was like, yo, like this shit was crazy. It was because obviously people that watch WWE don't know. They don't know New Japan. They don't know all the clubs, all the
I've talked to
groups
so
from
many
before.
people that are like, oh yeah, I watch wrestling, and then I'm like, oh, do you watch? I'm like, oh, do you know? I'll say somebody from a different company. I'm like, oh, do you know Moose from TNA?
Right.
Who's that?
Exactly.
So you don't watch wrestling? Yeah, I do. Do you watch only WWE? Yeah. Like, there's other stuff, dude.
Right, exactly.
I'm
way
like,
more
do you
than
know Will Ospreay?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know Kazuchika Okada? And they're looking at me
huh?
no, I remember one dude, I was talking to him because he's a big WWE guy.
Right.
And I remember telling him, do you know Tetsuya Naito? Hiroshi Tanahashi.
Mm-hmm.
I start saying all these names, and he
Right.
goes, "Okay, nerd." I'm like,
It's not being a nerd. It's
I'm like,
knowing
bro,
your shit.
I go, you said you know wrestling.
Exactly.
You don't know wrestling. But
yeah.
no, it's all good, man. And but yeah, like, you know. Oh,
Getting too dark in here.
that would have been nice a little while ago.
I know. I forgot. It was like a little too dark in here. I was like, oh shit.
Sorry about that. But yeah, like, I don't know. We kind of deviated so far from music now.
No, that's what that means.
Yeah,
That's what,
you know,
that's what
it
podcast
went music to the concert to
wrestling.
autographs,
Yeah,
and
to
then
wrestling.
autographs, and then wrestling.
Exactly.
But you know, that's what we do. You know, sometimes we deviate from what we initially start talking about.
Exactly.
But at least I can say we did over an hour of music.
We did.
This podcast is about like an hour and a half.
Not bad.
I want to say.
Not bad.
But I think it's probably time to
Wrap it up.
go and you know, wrap everything up, like he said. So just want to thank you guys for watching today's episode. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, my @ is aricswhatnotexperience. And if you want to follow Braulio, it's
BPR_24.
And if you guys want to check out Pieces, their Instagram is
@Pieces and @Pieces Resale Los Angeles.
And if you want to check out any of their stuff, links will be in their bio on the page. So go ahead and check out some of the merch. You know, we got the Los Angeles Devil T-shirt, the sweater. We got some of the hats right here. We got some other stuff in the back, but we're not going to show you right now.
Exactly.
You know, kind of just got to leave it where it is right now. But, you know, I want to thank you again, Braulio, for joining me again.
Of course.
And, you know,
we will be consistent with this, you know, as
much as we can. You know, we both have lives outside of this.
Exactly.
You know, I got my own 9 to 5, and Braulio's 9 to 5 is actually here.
Yeah.
Exactly. So,
yeah.
There's things that are always gonna come up, whether it be family or work stuff. So, don't hold us, you know, to a higher standard than you should.
Exactly. If you've been watching our videos, obviously, you know, this guy is gonna have a kid soon, another little one. So.
Yeah.
We're trying to do this as much as possible for you.
Yeah, one more month before she's here.
Dude,
that's
so quick.
That's if she comes on time.
Oh my god, fuck.
If she comes earlier, then she comes earlier. But
Man.
you know, we're getting everything set up. Everything's good now. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, just want to thank you again, brother, for
Thanks, sir.
joining me on this journey,
Of course.
and you all for coming along for the ride with us. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's episode. If you did, go ahead and leave a like. Maybe comment some ideas that you guys have for the podcast. Maybe consider subscribing and clicking the bell for notifications. You know, maybe share. That'd be nice. You know,
Of course.
just do yours. Yeah, me being ever the comedian. So thank you guys again, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Peace.
Peace, love, and positivity.
Hell yeah.